The state of the global telecom industry today is looking a little bit better than it did in the past 5 years or decade. I think something that was noticeable is the effect of OTT communication and the erosion of revenues from OTT services. Now, the picture has changed a little bit. There are some clear drivers in the market. OTT itself is a driver for some telco. So when we take the telco perspective into it, or telco or media TV, we see that there are some strong pots of revenue growth for the next 5 years. I'm talking about 2016 to 2021, for instance. The OTT video and the IoT services, together with mobile data, are still strong drivers of growth. We're talking about double digit for each one of those. Then, of course, the mobile data itself remains a driver, both in the mobile and fixed broadband. But let's not forget that we still have a huge chunk of legacy services, which are services we use on a daily basis. So they're legacy in telco terms, but they are current today, which are the fixed voice, the messaging, and so on and so forth. Most of these will be in the declining path. Just to put it into perspective, to give you a quantifier, the total telecom, fixed, mobile, and media, including pay TV and OTT TV markets, are roughly about 2% of world's GDP today. Clearly, 5G is the next big thing in the telecom industry. We are all excited about what we can do today with our 4G connectivity or our fiber connectivity, but we are also very mobile and we are also very engaged in our daily life with our smartphones. And that's going to be the first step of 5G. When we talk about 5G, we need to see how quickly the market is going to adopt this technology. We are seeing that the early launches by mobile operators are happening, some in 2018, some in 2019, but the real bulk of it is going to be in 2020. Only by 2022, the market will reach a decent size. We're talking about 5% of the global mobile subscription to be on 5G by 2022. Fixed line is going to be there, it's going to stay around, and it's very instrumental for 5G, in fact, especially fiber. Nonetheless, there are some pockets of opportunity both for existing fixed line operators, but also for mobile-only operators to tap into the 5G capabilities and offer fixed line services over what I can call today fixed wireless replacement. Obviously, we are not going to see a huge chunk of the subscriber base cutting their fixed line subscriptions. It's probably going to be more incremental than substitutive, but we are going to see some of these fixed line services being offered over mobile networks. Yeah, 5G is going to be faster. I think an interesting feature of technology adoption is that the cycles are getting faster and faster and faster. So when we compare the uptake of 5G to the traditional 4 and 3 and 2, I'll give you an indicator. Like the first 500 million 5G connections will take roughly 3 years to reach the same amount of customers. It took 5 years to 4G, and it took 8 years to 3G, and so on and so forth. So we are seeing that the adoption of newer technologies is getting faster. M2M and IoT are, as I highlighted, the strongest revenue driver for not just mobile operators, but today is very much a domain in terms of connectivity of mobile operators. This is a very strong growth area, clearly, for the next 5 years and much longer than that. But in today revenues terms, we're only talking about a fraction of what they are making, roughly a little bit less than 2% of their revenues today. We're talking about millions, hundreds of millions of connected devices. We know that telecom operators are moving from providing just connectivity to it into providing services and applications. But today the market is at its very infancy. It is going to grow to a much, much bigger pot, and it is the fastest growing area, but in perspective, it's still very, very tiny. Well, there are multiple challenges that operators are facing in the next years. Some are new, some are old, and some are possibly not yet predicted. The reality is that telecommunication and media markets are facing changes in consumer behavior, are facing competition from online players, are changes in regulation, are facing global economic downturns or upturns, depending in which country we look at. And the combination of all of these can be highly disruptive. Obviously, there is an element of certainty in the revenues that telecom operators are bringing in, but pain points or potential pain points are still out there. Data is the core of any decision we're making. Understanding the direction of the market, understanding where the returns of the investments are, is essential to anything we do. We do the same ourselves as a business. Telecom operators, their partners, their ecosystem, broadly speaking, is very much driven by our expectations of what the market is going to look like. In a single sentence, you can't manage what you cannot measure. That's why access to market data is fundamental for our day-to-day life.